Girl, let me ask you this. How many hours, days, months have you spent wondering if that man you're texting, calling, maybe even sleeping next to is actually worth your time? Because here's the truth. A man can waste your youth, drain your energy, and still have the audacity to say, I never asked you to wait for me. And I don't know about you, sis, but I refuse to let any man play with my time like it's cheap. So if you clicked on this video, it's because deep down you're asking, is he serious about me? Is he worth the energy I'm pouring into this? Or is he just taking me for a ride? And baby, I've got you. Because by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to test him, read his intentions, and find out if he's really the kind of man who deserves your love, your loyalty, and your precious time. But here's the catch. You need to watch this all the way through. Why? Because the biggest test, the one that reveals if he's really worth it, comes later, and you do not want to miss it. So sit back, grab your tea, and let me break it down for you. Big sister to little sister. No fluff, no fairy tales, just the real raw truth about men and how to make sure you always come out on top. All right, let's start with the first red flag test. Here's the thing about men. They reveal themselves early. And most women miss it because we're too busy listening to their words instead of watching their behavior. So what's the test? Consistency. Listen, a man who's worth your time doesn't just show up when it's convenient. He shows up because he wants to. If he's calling you one day and ghosting the next, if he's promising to see you on Friday but suddenly something came up every single week, sis, that's not a man who values you. That's a man who values his options. Let me put it like this. In the psychology of attraction, consistency equals reliability, and reliability is the foundation of trust. If he can't even be consistent in the early days, when he's supposed to be on his best behavior, what do you think it's going to be like 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the line? Exactly. Worse. And here's the payoff. If you see inconsistency now, don't convince yourself it'll change. It won't. Now, here's the cliffhanger. Some men can actually fake consistency at first. They'll call, text, plan dates, even buy you flowers, but underneath, they're playing a different game. And if you don't know the difference between real effort and performance effort, you're going to fall for the trap. So let's get into the second test. The one that separates the men who actually care from the ones who are just rehearsing lines. The second test is the effort versus excuses lean in for this one, because this is where so many women get played. There's a difference between effort and excuses disguised as effort. Here's what I mean. A man who's worth your time will make effort look easy. He doesn't just tell you he wants to see you, he actually makes time to see you. He doesn't say, I'll take you out one day. He pulls up with a reservation. He doesn't just like your pictures on Instagram, he shows up in your real life. Now compare that to the excuse maker. I've just been so busy. You know I'm not good with texting. Let's just play it by ear. Girl, those are not reasons. Those are excuses. And excuses are a man's way of saying, you're not my priority, but I still want access to you. Behavioral Psychology 101. Humans invest in what they value. Period. If he values you, he will invest time, energy, money, and effort. If he doesn't, he'll feed you excuses and hope you accept crumbs. Now here's the kicker. Sometimes excuses come wrapped in charm. He'll make them sound so convincing that you almost feel guilty for even asking. That's the manipulation. So the payoff here is this. Stop listening to excuses. Start measuring effort. If a man is serious, you'll never have to question whether he wants you there. He'll make sure you know. And now for the cliffhanger, because the next test, it's the big one. It's not about his words or even his consistency. It's about whether he's actually willing to invest in you. And sis, this is where the truth always comes out. The third test is the investment test. This is the ultimate filter because men don't invest in women they don't value. Period. And I don't just mean financial investment, though yes, that's part of it. I mean emotional investment, time investment, energy investment. Ask yourself, is he making space for you in his schedule? Is he showing up for you when it's inconvenient, not just when it's easy? Is he spending not just money, but effort to make you feel cared for? Because here's a little secret from evolutionary psychology. When a man truly sees a woman as high value, his brain shifts into provider mode. He wants to give, he wants to protect, He wants to secure her before another man does. But if you're always the one driving to see him, always the one planning the dates, always the one initiating the conversation, girl, you're not being pursued, you're doing the pursuing. And that is backwards. Now let me pause real quick because this is too important. If you're getting value from this right now, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell because the next videos I've got lined up will take you even deeper into the psychology of men and how to get them to invest in you the right way. And you don't want to miss that, trust me. All right, back to it. The reason for the investment test is this. When a man is truly worth your time, he won't just say he cares. He will show it through consistent investment of his resources. And resources come in 3 forms: time, energy, and money. If you're not seeing those 3 things flow in your direction, then girl, he is not worth it. But don't click away yet, because what comes next is the real secret weapon. In the next section, I'll give you the one question, the vision alignment test, that instantly reveals if he's just a temporary fling or a man who's actually thinking long term. The 4th test is vision alignment. Let's get real for a second. Because even if he's consistent, even if he's putting in effort, even if he's investing in you emotionally, financially, and physically, there's still one question you have to ask. See, here's the trap so many women fall into. A man can treat you like a queen today and still not see you in his tomorrow. And the only way to know is to listen to how he talks about the future. Does he include you in his plans? Or is it always I instead of we? When you bring up marriage, kids, or building something long-term, does he engage in the conversation? Or does he get defensive and say, I don't like labels, or let's just go with the flow? Sis, go with the flow is code for, I don't see a future here, but I don't want to lose access to what I'm getting now. Now, let me sprinkle in a little evolutionary psychology here. Men are wired for competition and conquest, right? That means a high-value man who's serious about you is thinking ahead. How do I secure her before someone else does? He doesn't want to risk losing you. But a man who's not aligned with you will avoid making future plans because he's keeping his options open. And you'll waste years waiting for him to magically wake up one day and decide you're the one. Spoiler alert, he won't. Here's your payoff. Alignment is non-negotiable. If you want marriage, kids, partnership, a man who supports your dreams, he needs to want those things too. Otherwise, you're investing in a man who doesn't have the same destination as you. Even if his vision sounds aligned, words can still be lies. So how do you know if he means it? That's where the next section comes in. The psychology check that reveals his true intentions, even when his mouth says something different. The 5th test is the psychology check. Let's break this down with a little bit of dark psychology. Because men can say anything. They can talk about a future, they can act consistent, they can even invest a little. But psychology doesn't lie. So here's the test. Watch how he reacts under pressure. Anyone can play Prince Charming when things are smooth. But what happens when there's conflict? When you set a boundary? When you tell him no? Does he respect it? Or does he guilt trip you, lash out, or withdraw affection? Because here's what you need to know. Boundaries are like a mirror. They reflect the truth about a man's character. A man who truly values you will respect your boundaries, even if he doesn't like them. A man who's just playing you will push, manipulate, or punish you for having them. Another psychology trick. Watch how he handles jealousy. I don't mean toxic, controlling jealousy. I mean, when another man gives you attention, does he step up his game because he sees you as a prize, or does he get insecure and try to tear you down? Behavioral psychology shows that under stress, a person's real self leaks out. So don't just watch how he treats you when he's happy. Watch how he treats you when he's frustrated, tired, or not getting his way. That's the man you'll be stuck with in the long run. The payoff here is this. Psychology reveals what words hide. If he respects boundaries, handles conflict with maturity, and still chooses to show up for you under stress, that's a man who's worth your time. Even if he passes every single test so far, there's still one more thing that seals the deal. The ultimate green flag. And if he doesn't have this one, none of the others matter. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate green flag, because you can have consistency, you can have effort, you can have investment, and even vision alignment. But if this one piece is missing, the whole thing falls apart. The ultimate green flag is emotional safety. That's it. That's the crown jewel. A man who is truly worth your time makes you feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to water yourself down. You don't have to play small so he feels big. With him, you feel free to be feminine, soft, vulnerable, because you know he's strong enough to protect that softness. And here's where psychology ties in again. When a man provides emotional safety, it's because he's secure in himself. In evolutionary terms, he doesn't just want to mate. He wants to pair bond. He sees you not as a conquest, but as a partner. The payoff is this. Emotional safety is the one thing that separates a fling from forever. Because you can't build love, trust, or family with someone who makes you anxious, insecure, or small. I know some of you are realizing that the guy you're with right now doesn't check these boxes. And that's exactly why we need to wrap this up with the most important truth of all. So let's bring this home, babe. Here's what we've learned. If he's inconsistent, he's showing you he doesn't value your time. If his effort is full of excuses, he's showing you you're not a priority. If he's not investing time, energy, or money, he's showing you you're not worth the commitment to him. If his vision doesn't align with yours, he's showing you he's not your future. If his psychology under stress is ugly, he's showing you his true self. And if he doesn't make you feel emotionally safe, he's showing you he's not the one. Now here's the final truth. You are the prize. Your time is gold, your love is rare, and your energy is sacred. Any man who wants access to that needs to prove he's worth it. No more giving discounts. No more giving wife energy to a man who barely deserves a first date. So here's my challenge to you. Take these tests and apply them. Don't just listen. Act. Because the moment you start holding men to these standards, watch how fast the wrong ones disappear and the right one steps up. And if this video spoke to you, if it lit a fire in you, then girl, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because I've got so much more coming that will keep you winning in love and never settling again. Because remember, ladies, men are optional. Your happiness, your peace, your glow, that's mandatory. And any man who wants to be in your life, he better prove he's worth your time.